In this video, we are going to take a look at global adjustments. This means adjusting the whole image to correct the color, contrast, or exposure of an image. It can also be used as a special effect to create a specific look. There are two different ways in which you can apply an adjustment to an image. The first is by going here to the Image tab and choose Adjustments. There are 22 different adjustments that you can apply to your image from this menu. However, if you apply an adjustment to your image and save it, the adjustment is permanent and destructive. The second method for applying an adjustment is what we call the non-destructive, and utilizes a special type of layer called an adjustment layer. You can apply an adjustment layer by clicking on this icon at the bottom of the layers. Alternatively, you can create an adjustment layer from the Layers menu by choosing New Adjustment Layer. The adjustment list is visible in the Adjustments panel if no adjustment layer is highlighted in the Layers panel. You will also notice that this time there are only 15 adjustments instead of 22 we saw previously. However, with the exception of shadows and highlights, we have all of the important adjustments available to us. So let's click the adjustment layer here. Once you have added the adjustment layer, it will be visible as a new layer above your image. There are many different adjustments, but most useful adjustments for beginners starts with the following. Number one is what we call the levels. Levels is an extremely powerful tool for adjusting exposure problems and can also be used to color correct an image. You can go ahead and select level from here. When you apply a level correction, you will notice that there is what we call the histogram. This is a representation of all the total values or tonal values in the image. The black point slider on the left that is set at 0, which is pure black, and white point slider on the right is set at 255, which is pure white. This gives us a complete range of 256 possible values. The middle gamma slider works differently to the black and white sliders. If the gamma is adjusted to the left towards the black end of the scale, the image will get lighter. If you move it to the right, the image will get darker in the midtones. In the histogram, we can also see that the dark values don't go all the way to the black point on the left, and the white values don't go all the way to the white point on the right. This means that there are no true blacks or whites in the image. This may result in the image lacking in contrast. We can also adjust this histogram by moving the black and white point inwards to meet the beginning and end of the pixel values. Next is what we call the Hue and Saturation. You can click Hue and Saturation by clicking this icon. The Hue Saturation Adjustment allows us to manipulate the colors in an image either globally or independently. As with the Levels adjustment, I recommend that you apply it as an adjustment layer. In the Hue Saturation dialog box, we have three main different sliders. Number one is what we call the Hue. Hue affects the color value. When you move it to the spectrum of the colors, it will be shifted. This is not useful as a global adjustment, but can be very useful when applied to a specific color. Next is what we call the saturation. It represents the intensity of the color. Moving the slider's value to the right will make the colors in your image appear stronger. Moving the slider to the left will decrease the intensity of the colors, and if you move it all the way to the left, it will result in the grayscale image. For the best and most natural looking results, you should do this on a per color basis. Last is what we call the lightness. As the name implies, it will affect the lightness of the image, and unless used with care, it can result in loss of contrast. The default setting is to affect all of the colors in the images as indicated by what we call the master in the drop-down menu. However, individual colors can be affected independently by either selecting the appropriate color from the drop-down menu or by using the small icon that depicts a finger on a left and right pointing arrow. Here. To click directly on the image, clicking and dragging to the right will increase the saturation of the selected color, and clicking and dragging to the left will desaturate the selected color. So I'll click on this and I'll choose a specific color and drag it to either right or left. Near the bottom of the panel is a checkbox called what we call Colorize. If you click this box, your entire image will be tinted with one specific color. The Hue slider will allow you to change the color and saturation slider, and it will adjust the intensity. That's it for the topic of the simple global adjustments.